can you edit me and put me inside the glycogen vacuole? So parang akong kinakain ng monster. That is eating my health. Welcome to your regular dose of pain, brought to you by the Amoebozoans. Now, just a quick recap from our previous episodes. As you can see, we're pretty much done with supergroup Excavata. Now we're moving on to supergroup Amoebozoa. It's deceptively few. Yun lang, di ba? Apat lang sila. Amoebozoans in general have pseudopodia and also tubular mitochondrial cristae. The one that we can really see under the light microscope is pseudopods, at least for the lab specimens of interest, which are the amoebas. We won't be discussing slime molds. Historically, the main subgroups under Amoebozoa were Canosa and Lobosa. And this was based on whether or not they had cilia or flagella at some point in their lives. But since then, because of molecular data, their names have been bedazzled into Discosia and Evosia. Of these two groups, Evosia was formerly known as Canosa, and they may have flagellated forms. The other group, Discosia, they don't have flagellated forms. Yun na siguro yung pinaka-morphological difference nilang dalawa. The subgroup under clade Evosia that will more or less encompass our lab specimens would be Archamoebae. And under clade Archamoebae, you have Entamoeba and the Mastigamoeba. The Entamoeba amoebas are part of the Entamoeba. Just remember, Entamoeba, Entamoeba. The species Endolimax and Iodamoeba, they belong under Mastigamoeba. For context, all of them, even Endolimax and Iodamoeba, they were actually with Entamoeba in the group Entamoebidae. But of course, things changed, and so for now, they're in Mastigamoeba. Which, if you remember, mastigo means whip. So this is the group that at some point in their lives may have possessed flagella. Now, whether or not Endolimax and Iodamoeba have flagella or have had flagella at some point in their evolutionary history, I honestly don't know. But because so many things coming up with molecular studies, none of this is set in stone. Things are still getting shuffled around. For now, that's the group that they're in. We have only one representative under the clade Discosia, and that is Acanthamoeba. Morphologically, this group has no flagellated forms, and they somewhat appear dome-shaped. Para lang kita ninyo na, yan pala yung relationships ng mga amoeba sa isa't isa. O diba? May mga relationships din sila. And yes, it's complicated. If the members of Excavata are easily distinguished by flagella, then these guys, they're the amorphous-looking blobs of the protozoan world. Most of the amoebas under our lab specimen list do form a cyst. And so these are some of the major life stages of your cyst-forming amoebas. We mentioned before that there is the trophozoite stage and then there is the cyst stage. But there's a little bit of in between. The main reason for highlighting these different stages is because with a trained eye, under the microscope, you'll be able to see certain differences and you'll actually be able to tell more specifically what stage it's in if you're really good. For trophozoites, typically the nucleus is there, maybe a few ingested and undigested materials are very visible. It's kind of big in size. The precyst, because it will or it is starting to encyst, it does have undigested food, but it's going to try to expel it, so maybe it's going to become a little smaller in size, and then it's going to start to form the cyst wall. Once it has just recently encysted, di naman agad-agad pagka naging cyst siya, yung itsura niya, yung mature form na. Isipin nyo, trophozoite yan, isang nucleus. It was just one cell. And ang objective niya is eventually, kapag ka mas okay na yung conditions, it'll exist and form into a bunch of other trophozoites through fission. So paano niya ma-accomplish yun while in the cyst form? Yung mga nuclei niya, yun yung dadami muna. Kapag bago pa lang yung cyst or bata pa lang yung cyst, what do you expect to see? Considering galing pa lang siya from trophozoite stage, you might see certain structures like the chromatoidal bars, also glycogen vacuoles. Kasi nga, yung pagkain niya nandun pa eh. And then, much fewer nuclei than the actual mature cyst. Kaya, may makikita kayong descriptions na, immature cysts have 1 to 2 nuclei, and mature cysts will have 4 nuclei. Depende yan kung at what point siya na-fix. Nakuha mo yung GIFS, na-fix na siya. Oh, nagkataon, bata pa yung cyst na yun. Ganun na talaga yung makikita mo. For the metacyst, ang makikita nyo na is the maximum number of nuclei. Typical for the species. You have one cytoplasm, one cell membrane, and then you have multiple nuclei. The multiple nuclei signify or indicate karyokinesis. Nag-divide na yung nucleus. Para pag nag-exist na siya, naka-ready na yung nucleus. Madali na lang to pinch off the cell membranes and then bloop. All it has to do is cytokinesis. One nucleus per cell. Now you have a bunch of smaller trophozoites and those are your metacystic trophozoites. And they will eventually grow in size to become your actual single trophozoite. So this is something that is important to take note of because in most literature, you will see the descriptions just for the trophozoite, the immature cyst, and then the metacyst. But there are times, makikita nyo talaga sa microscope, ano ba ba to? Amoeba ba to? May nucleus naman pero parang hindi siya yung typical size, parang hindi yun yung number of nuclei na described sa literature. Perhaps because you're seeing a little bit of an in-between. Kaya huwag kayong malilito When you're trying to differentiate the different species of amoebas, the morphological characteristics that we really care about are those that are observable under your typical, humble, low-cost, standard compound light microscope. Until such time na gumanda-ganda yung microscope natin, di purita microscope mode. At certain distinct points in the life cycle, meron siyang certain characteristics. Those morphological characteristics will include 1. Size. Kahit anong parasite pa pag-usapan natin, whether it's from protozoa or to your helminths, size matters. Lahat naman yan may mga size ranges yan. For example, Entamoeba histolytica, which is pathogenic, versus Entamoeba coli, which is non-pathogenic. Si coli, typically larger trophozoites. Again, not always the case. May mga Entamoeba coli na maliliit. Also, depende kung ano yung nakita mong stage specifically. Baka pre-cyst yun, kaya mas mukhang maliit. Medyo complicated yan. You're not gonna base it on size alone. You'll use this with other characteristics. So next, we look at the number of nuclei. If we're looking at trophozoites, syempre, isang nucleus lang yan. Pero pagdating na sa cyst form, particularly the mature cyst, then that's when you're like, pag si Entamoeba histolytica, 4. Pag si Entamoeba coli, 8, maybe 16. Si Endolimax, 4. Si Iodamoeba buetschlii, 1. But it's not just the number of nuclei. Let's now focus on the features of the nucleus. The nucleus will have a smaller dot in the middle, and that is the endosome or the karyosome. Apart from that, along the borders of the nuclear membrane, you might see chromatin. The distribution of the chromatin granules within the nucleus and the position of the endosome within the nucleus can also be important features to be able to distinguish the species apart. And also the size of the endosome. Kasi may iba na malaki yung endosome, iba talagang parang super late na tuldok lang. Now let's look at other structures that are in the cytoplasm, such as chromatoidal bars, glycogen vacuoles, ingested red blood cells, because there are certain species that really focus on eating tissue, like Entamoeba histolytica, whereas others you won't see ingested RBCs because they don't eat RBCs. They just eat bacteria and the other things in your gut. Glycogen vacuoles, that's very distinct, for example, for Iodamoeba buetschlii. Siya yung talaga ang laki ng glycogen vacuole pag naging cyst form. So, para siyang Mike Wazowski, diba? Cyclops. As you read the morphological descriptions for each of the species in your book and the CDC, and maybe a little bit in Parasites Without Borders whenever they are described, that's just something to take note of. Let's have a look at this handy-dandy dichotomous key from the WHO. The characteristics we've discussed earlier, those are the main bases that they're using. If we're looking at trophozoite stages, for example, we will only find one nucleus. Again, it's a single cell, one nucleus. Trophozoite stage, this is the feeding stage, and then you see ingested red blood cells. Almost always, that is Entamoeba histolytica, at least among your lab specimens. Emphasis on almost always, because sometimes other amoeba, kahit commensal amoeba yan, non-pathogenic amoeba, they might also have ingested RBCs kasi pwedeng they have bleeding in your gut and then nula lang, nakain nila yung RBC. Siyempre, pag tinignan nyo, size-wise, Endolimax nana is the smallest. For Iodamoeba, it's more of malaki yung karyosome niya relative to the nucleus. Si Endolimax, ganun din. They look like googly eyes. For the Entamoeba group, so Entamoeba histolytica, maliit lang yung nucleolus niya pero central. Si Entamoeba coli, maliit din yung nucleolus pero medyo offset. Hindi siya gitnang-gitna ng nucleus. Yun yung description na eccentric nucleolus. If you're observing multiple nuclei, most likely you are looking at a cyst stage. Dito na yung magbibilang na kayo ng number of nuclei. Certain species will have distinct number of nuclei with emphasis on the metacyst or the mature cyst. If it's a young cyst, it's anywhere in between 1 to the maximum number. You might also see features like chromatoidal bodies, which you will typically see in younger cysts. As the cysts mature, nagdi-disintegrate yung chromatoidal bodies. You'll also probably see glycogen vacuoles. Sometimes also in younger cysts. In the case of Iodamoeba, it's almost always there. Hindi siya yung Iodamoeba, the force is with me. No, not that Yoda, iodine. The glycogen inside, it stains distinctly with iodine, kaya Iodamoeba. Food for thought. Why? Bakit yan yung mga nakikita nating features sa mga cyst? Chromatoidal bodies, these are aggregations of ribosomes. Ribosomes are very important in protein synthesis. The vacuole, that's your food storage. The cyst wall, to help resist extreme conditions outside of the organism. Ito yung crisis or survival mode features mo. Kung tayo may crisis, wala ka ng pera, yan, adverse conditions, iwanan mo yung mansyon, lipat ka muna sa maliit na studio apartment. Ang gagawin mo na lang is you're going to pack the shit that you need. Yung DNA, protein manufacturing machinery, reinforced walls, energy stores. Those are the structures that are, I guess, most important for the organism's survival. As of this point, I'm gonna be showing you just a few more images para lang ma-increase yung exposure ninyo dun sa mga itsura ng amoeba. Nagsi-screenshot kayo, no? No, sini-screenshot nyo to, no? Kaya mag-panic, that's available online. Pinapakita lang naman dito sa table na to is yung itsura ng trophozoite, itsura ng cyst, and then the bottom row will show you yung nucleus. That's not the cell, that's just the nucleus. Yun yung makikita mo structures, distribution of chromatin, nucleolus, whether it's centrally located, peripherally located, or whether it's small or large relative to the whole nucleus. Ngayon, mapapansin niyo, di ba? Ang lab specimens lang talaga naman natin, at least yung nakasulat sa manuals ninyo outright, sina Endolimax, Iodamoeba, Entamoeba histolytica, Entamoeba coli. So who the fuck are these other guys? These are some other commensal amoebas that you may also find in your samples. Di naman lahat ng amoeba sa world Entamoeba histolytica lang, di ba? So marami pang iba't ibang klaseng amoeba na pwedeng nandun din sa fecally contaminated material. The Entamoeba dispar, for the longest time, kala nila histolytica lang din yan because it's morphologically identical with Entamoeba histolytica. So the only way to really confirm is through further testing. Yan na yung mag-DNA test ka na. The question on this is it even practical? If you want to confirm whether this is Entamoeba histolytica or Entamoeba dispar, parang why? Most of you, I believe, who are watching this probably want to become doctors at some point. Include the patient history. Does the patient exhibit symptoms of amoebic dysentery or amoebic infection? More likely, di histolytica na yun. Ganun yung conversation yun. Usually, doon naman iikot yun eh. Not so much na parang may PCR natin. Gusto mo malaman kung ano itong species to. Wala nang pakialam yung pasyente doon. Sa totoo lang. It's more of gagaling ba ako? Ayoko na magtain ng dugo. And also, who's gonna pay for the lab test anyway? Kasi kung pasyente rin naman yung magbabayad ng lab test na yun, parang it's a burden on your patient. Hanggang doon lang tayo sa pinaka-practical ends. From a research perspective, then yeah, go ahead. Test to your heart's content. If you have to make the distinction at the DNA level, if that's what your research objective requires you to do, then you have to do that. You might have also seen this image online. And this image includes Entamoeba. From the name itself, di ba, may amoeba dun sa name niya. Madalas sinasama nila si Entamoeba, but phylogenetically, systematically, hindi niya kamag-anak tong mga amoeba na to. It's in a different supergroup altogether. Ang description kay Entamoeba is walang cyst stage. But there are a few studies showing that it has a cyst stage, apparently. Practice pa more. Dito naman sa lahat ng amoeba na to, major species of concern natin is Entamoeba histolytica. It's Entamoeba histolytica that is the causative agent of amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. So why are we including commensal species in the first place? From a medical perspective, what does that tell you about the patient's exposure? Sasabihin ko na ba yung sagot? Hindi, alam nyo yan. Ang clue na lang natin is, syempre, life cycle. Technically, nakakain siya ng tae. Yun, sinabi ko na yung sagot. Now let's go to the clay dyscosia. Our only representative is Acanthamoeba. Iba na yung life cycle niyan. Iba na rin yung mode of transmission niya. It's exposure to contaminated water. Diba? Pag hilamos ka, or yun nga, yung iba, pagka yung contact lens, hindi nalinis ng contact lens cleaner, they use tap water, tapos yung tap water pala, may Acanthamoeba, so pwede ka na mabulag. Yun lang naman yung consequence nun eh, mawawalan ka lang naman ng paningin eh. The cyst stages have a very thick cyst wall. Mapapansin nyo, parang nagkakaroon ng butas, those are what we call osteoles. And those somehow still help the organism sense the external environment. Kasi nga, sobrang kapal ng cyst wall. And of course, from the name itself, Acanthamoeba, because yung pseudopodia niya, mukhang spiky. Acanthophobia. Ano? Acanthophobia. Acanthopodia. Spiny pseudopodia. Literally, yun siya. That's supergroup Amoebozoa. Tapos na po tayo. Depending on the lab slides you're given, some of them came from cultures. Yun na mismo yung nakasmear. Wala ka nang ibang titignan kundi yung organism lang. But for the amoebas, most of the slides that you'll be handed are actually poop smears. It means you're gonna see a lot of fecal debris. Ma'am. Oh, musta? Ma'am, ito na po ba yun? Hindi, tae yan. Okay.
A few moments later.
Ma'am. Oh no, may nanap ka na. Eto ma'am. Tae din to, no? Galing mo talaga. O, alam mo na itsura ng tae. Very good. Ganun kahirap maghanap ng amoeba, to be honest. As you examine your lab specimens, always remember, your specimens are three-dimensional, but we're looking at them from a 2D perspective. So you have to use your imagination. It's tempting to assume that the way they appear under the microscope is always identical to the two-dimensional illustrations or the images that we see in the books. The illustrations, yung mga napakagagandang drawing sa inyong book, those are idealized drawing. Lahat ng features na dapat makita, idinodrawing na nila in one plane. And even the images online, actually, like the actual specimen images, they may already have been digitally enhanced para mas makita ninyo yung features. It takes a trained eye to be able to identify protozoans with like 90+% certainty. variety because there's so many things in poop. It could look like amoeba, it could look like parasite eggs. This is when it becomes helpful to maximize the capabilities of your light microscope. Kung kunyari, nabasa mo sa literature, sabi naman 8 nuclei, hindi naman 8 eh. Have you tried changing the plane of focus? Tandaan nyo 3-dimensional yan. So you have this amorphous blob na may mga nuclei sa loob. Kung 8 yan, hindi naman lahat ng 8 magkakatabi in one plane. Your microscope can only focus at certain planes or certain levels or certain slices of that blob. Perhaps at one plane of focus, makikita mo 2. Doon sa next plane of focus, doon mo makikita yung iba. I-adjust ninyo yung fine adjustment knob. Tignan ninyo lahat ng levels, lahat ng slices ng organism na yun. Perhaps the field of view is too bright. Ay, maximum mo yung ilaw. Na-flood na ng puti. Baka hindi mo na nakita yung mga important structures. Try to improve the contrast. So you adjust the iris diaphragm, condenser, light intensity ng lamp para makuha nyo yung best contrast. Another thing to also note is the staining. Are you looking at a fresh mount? Are you looking at a stained organism? What kind of stain did they use? GEMSA, trichrome staining, iba't iba rin yung magiging colors and yung structures na expected ninyo because yung stain, kakapit lang yun sa certain structures. Ginawa mo na lahat. Kasi, nag-focus na ako, pinalitan ko na lahat, diba? Intensity ng light, fine adjustment. Tapos, hindi nga 8 nuclei. Then maybe you're looking at an immature cyst. Or, maybe a different species altogether. Eccentric yung endosome, nasa center nung tinignan ko. Tapos Entamoeba kulay daw. Imagine a spherical nucleus with a nucleolus that's off-center. There will be a particular view where it is off-center. But if you rotate that sphere a bit, there will also be a view that will make it look like it's in the center. And that's the limitation of your light microscope. Depende rin sa orientation ng amoeba nung na-fix siya. By no means, I'm no expert. I'm literally just your next door senior trying to help you. But in the span of time that I've taught this course, I personally consider amoebas a pain. So that's why we're going to leave them alone now. And moving on to your next dose of pain, we'll be talking about the apicomplexans, or more recently, the supergroup TSAR.